up, guys? Welcome back. If you're wondering like where the makeup is this week, you're like, Kackie, I thought you reviewed beauty. I'm coming off a chemical peel this week, and no makeup looks cute under those conditions. I pretty much would not have been able to give a fair shake to anything with the condition of my skin. Anyway, today, guys, we are going to be doing the assumptions tag. I tried to do this a couple of weeks ago when I first saw it. You guys were so sweet. There were a few people who had legit questions, but most, like by and large, it was people being like, I assume that you are a really good person. I assume that you are really, really nice. And I was like, that's so sweet, but that is not a video. So I made a point to encourage you guys, encourage you guys to be more honest. It makes for better content. I wanted you guys to really tell me how you feel. So if there's anything that gets under my skin, that's on me. We're just going to go ahead and jump in, and we will dispel some rumors or maybe verify some. But I just wanted to do this because there's so many new people. We have been growing so quickly, and I feel like probably a lot of you guys don't feel like you know me that well. So let's go ahead and get it all out in the open. You seem like a Subaru driver. I've been trying to figure out your car life from vlogs, but it's still a mystery. By the way, if you're not driving your dream car, what would it be? 3 people liked that. So makes me think that there are more people wondering it. I do not drive a Subaru, but my husband does. He has a Subaru Crosstrek. We just got it a couple of years ago, and I love that car. It's fantastic for road tripping. We road trip to Colorado every Thanksgiving, and we have road trip to Florida in it, and it's just become our amazing road trip car. It's awesome. But I still have my same car from 2011. I bought a brand new Honda Insight. It's basically the Honda version of a Prius. It's a hybrid, and it's a very petite little hatchback car. It does have 4 doors. I am just driving it till the wheels fall off, but if I had my druthers, you guys, like, I actually get excited when I think about the new Volvo XC40. It's like this perfect size SUV. I've still yet to see one in the wild. I'm pretty sure you have to do the fly to Sweden, drive your car in Sweden, they ship it back to your dealership locally kind of thing. Like, that's a thing that Volvo does, is these trips to Sweden to pick your car up. Even though you're not picking it up, you're just going to Sweden and then they're shipping you and it back completely separately. Either way, I want to do that. And I want the Volvo XC40 because it is so freaking cute. And Volvo is moving all of their automobiles to hybrid, I believe. I don't want to get the first model off the line. I want them to have some space and time to figure it out, but that is my dream car. The teacher in me thinks that you are extremely intelligent. Maybe you didn't always get perfect grades because I think you had a rebellious streak and wouldn't want to do assignments if you didn't see the value in them, but your vocabulary and overall demeanor lead me to believe that you are a pretty smart cookie. So it's hard for me to speak to that, but I will say that, because it's like, I'm a genius, but I will say my whole life, the struggle was I didn't think I was pretty. I knew I was smart. That was just something that no one could degrade. No one could be like, you're stupid. I'd be like, really? Like, I was always in school, no one said that to me, but if I didn't do well on a test, it's because I didn't study. If I didn't do AP whatever, it was because I didn't want to. I didn't like studying, and I got by really easily without studying, and I could mostly just cram for something and get by. And she's right, there are actually a lot of subjects and a lot of classes specifically that I just hated, and so I would just flake off in those classes. And mainly it was anything to do with like war history. I cannot retain those kinds of things. Art history, totally fine. When you put it through the lens of art, I'm very interested. But when you're telling me about different battles where men just killed each other for no reason, I can't relate. And so my husband's always just like really up on that kind of stuff. He always knows all the facts. He always retains all of the history. And he's just like, I don't understand. Like, why don't you like history? I'm like, it's not that I don't like history. It's just that history is landmarked by men fighting wars. Those are probably the classes that I didn't love, but I still managed to pass. I graduated high school cum laude, and I've graduated college with like a 3.6, I want to say, but I was also an art major. Makes it easy to get good grades. So I did kind of, I feel like, take the easy route in a lot of ways because I wasn't that into school, but school was also easy for me. I guess. And to your vocabulary question, I'm a huge grammar and word and spelling nerd. I won the spelling bee when I was in 6th grade. You are the mom of your friend group. You are level-headed, you always have everything a girl can need in your handbag, and you are the designated driver after a night out. That is very sweet. Thank you. I have become the designated driver as I've gotten older because I just don't like to get drunk. I don't like being drunk. I don't like being hungover. The thing about being a mother though, I would not say I am naturally the most nurturing person. I don't know, some people might disagree with me that are in my life, but I don't feel drawn to nurture. I am the moral compass to all of my friends. And so throughout my entire life, I've had a little bit of a savior complex for people. I'm drawn to Geminis because they kind of have trouble sorting their brains out sometimes. And so I am that person who throughout my entire life, probably less so now, everybody's got their crap together a lot more now. But in my 20s, people came to me to help them reason out what was going on in their lives. They were like, I have this issue, I have this guy, I have this situation, and I can't get a level head about it. And I was that person who was like, break up with the guy, he's obviously a sociopath, or that job is not right for you, you're obviously not happy, whatever. But the flip side of that is I had a lot of friends who, when they would be doing what they knew was the wrong thing, they would hide it from me because they knew I would tell them what they didn't want to hear. Because it's just my personality, I kind of can't turn it on and off. So I have very hard, strong feelings, especially when it comes to someone who I care about. It has actually weeded out a lot of friends over the years because there is such a thing as tough love. Some people love it, some people don't. And that's just kind of my language. I assume Kackie is a nickname for something, but I can't figure out what. This is what I'm talking about, where there's a lot of people who are new, and I do not expect you to go and comb through my videos to find the answers to this. My name's Kevin. My real name's Kevin, K-E-V-Y-N, and so that is my given name. It is my father's name with an I, and so they named me that when I was a baby. They tried to call me Casey as like a nickname, and my sister couldn't say it. She's a year and like 2 weeks older than me, and there are videos of her while I'm still a drooling infant where she's just like, Kackie, 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 and they were like, okay. And so my sister named me. Kackie is not my given name though, but it has been my name my entire life, like before I was conscious, before I was a sentient automaton. Unfortunately, people don't have God in their lives and fill the void with affairs, drugs, and dangerous, sinful activities. We live in a very perverse world that tells us every day to do what feels good, even though many feel-good activities are sinful and dangerous and against what God stands for. Just my opinion, I pray people are there for his wife and daughter? What? I don't have anything for that. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. You have an ethnically diverse friend group. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you know, I don't really think about myself that way. Austin is not a particularly racially diverse place, but I don't discriminate on the basis of race. I guess I've never really thought about it. I love this. I see you as a hippy-dippy mom in a near to far future. Hippie in the most natural, fun use of the term. I love this, and you are right. My marriage and my relationship are very strong, and I feel very, very confident in Mike's and my ability to be really good parents, and it excites me to think about building a life with him. And so, that said, yes, kids are on the horizon. We're probably gonna start trying next year. We wanna go ahead. There's a lot of weird stuff in the air right now. I think you guys can feel that when you come to my channel. There's just a lot of plates in the air, and I think that everything is going to be very settled in comparison by 2020, and so that's probably when we're going to start trying. But to the hippy-dippy part, yes, absolutely. I intend to breastfeed. Me and Mike are really passionate about that. I intend to probably at least try to give, you know, regular live birth, not get a C-section. No shade on anybody. I haven't had any kids. I really don't have the grounds to have an opinion on this. It's just kind of reading that we've done and people that I've talked to. But, I mean, obviously everybody's entitled to their own thing. I think I was formula fed, I'm not sure. But I just believe in being a very calm person, at least while I'm pregnant, because I think that it's going to just make for a generally better pregnancy. So I don't want to get pregnant until I can really prioritize and just do one job, because I'm doing like 3 right now. I think a stressed out body is not going to be a very good accommodation for a little baby to grow. And so, yeah, I do. I have a lot of really hippy-dippy beliefs about that kind of stuff, about just kind of like the environment that I'm creating with my body while I'm making a human kind of thing. So you are correct. I fully intend to be a hippy dippy mom. That is fine. You prefer tea over coffee and you don't eat dairy. Both incorrect. I love coffee and I actually really don't like tea. The only tea that I will drink is not technically tea. It is peppermint tea, which is technically a tisane because it's just an herbal tea. I like peppermint tea because it's good for my tum and it's a really good little sweet treat at the end of the night if I'm like having a craving. Coffee is a really big part of my life. It is actually how I wake myself up in the morning. I make my coffee at night and I set it to go off at 7 a.m. and it is my alarm clock. And so I hear this beep and there's just so many endorphins, so many positive feelings that come from that when I open my eyes and I'm just like, coffee! Like that is my favorite thing. And I have been drinking coffee with my breakfast since I was in elementary school. My parents were the same way. We just don't think of coffee as an adult beverage. And so it was always something that was part of my life. And as far as dairy goes, I have been wronged by many, many, many foods in my life, but bless up, dairy has never done me wrong. I eat a lot of like mozzarella cheese and I drink full fat cream in my coffee every morning and I just really like dairy. The diet that has agreed with my body the best has probably been like a high fat diet because I don't metabolize fat very well because celiac and autoimmune and whatever, I just don't metabolize fat very well. And so in order to get the things that I need and feel full and feel energized, like fat and protein are very, very integral to my diet. I can't subsist on just like vegetables. I would die and I would probably kill everyone around me. But yeah, so long story short, I really like dairy and it likes me back. Hi Kackie, I'm a new viewer, obsessed with your content for about a month now. Hello. Welcome. I assume that you have lots of energy and have at times been described as hyper, which maybe got you in trouble as a kid and led you to have a lot of creative outlets as an adult. Keep up your hard work. We all appreciate it and love your channel. I love you back. So hyper was never the word. I was not necessarily a super hyper kid, but I've always just been very precocious. For whatever reason, being like gifted as a child, you just get this idea in your head that people care what you think. And over the years, I really had to like take a personal interest in eroding that and being like, guess what? Not all of your thoughts need to be heard. We could all take a lesson from that. Some of the commenters need to take a lesson from that. Sometimes thoughts are just best left in your head. I was never like hyperactive. I was actually very good at keeping my interest on something. I never had any kind of attention issues, but I have always just been very like outgoing and honestly to my detriment. I mean, yeah, we're all cringy, but like I was extra cringy. I didn't get it. Like I just didn't get it until I was like an adult. And so I look back on all that stuff and I talked to my mom about it too. She's like, I was the same way. It was just like I just couldn't perceive my surroundings. Yeah, I think it was less hyper, more just weird. Like the word that I got my entire upbringing was like, you are weird. And I think I just made people uncomfortable. Like I laughed too loud and I reacted in weird ways and like my timing was off on, you know, on everything. And so I attracted some really great weird friends in the process, but I was really, really weird. There's nothing wrong with being weird. I fully embrace it now. Aw, Lindy. This is tough. I feel like you are open, honest, and down to earth. It's hard to think of an assumption because you have shared a big part of you in your meditation and backstory video. If I had to make an assumption, I'd assume that you learned/grew from your past and really want to use that to help others, which you have done for me. Love you. I love you too, Lindy. I do feel like it was a huge gift for me to have been so immersed in emotionality my entire life, like through my parents' divorce and through being just a really angsty kid. I have felt a lot of extremes in my life. I feel really strongly. I don't necessarily feel for others really strongly. I know that sounds terrible, but I feel my own feelings in a way that I'm like, I must be the only person who's ever felt this way. And then I find out that I'm actually pretty typical. That's kind of my cadence of learning, and so I try and share that as much as possible. You can actually see it across my channel where I'll have these dawning moments and need to share them with you guys, and then I'll just kind of lull for a little while because I'm in like a creative cocoon. That's kind of always been my process, but yeah, I get so much job satisfaction out of sharing my learnings with people because if nothing else, sometimes I will just share that I'm having trouble with something, and that is enough for a lot of people to not feel alone, because it's so easy to feel sometimes like you are the first and only person who's ever felt the way that you do. And honestly, feeling bad is bad enough. Feeling bad and alone is awful. So I want to at least make people feel less alone, because I appreciate that too. I assume you are in your mid-20s, but for some reason I get like hippie vibes. You remind me of the girls I hung out with in the 90s that wore Birkenstocks, light makeup, smoked some pot, but got down with their education and career. Insert monkey covering eyes emoji here. XOXO, by the way, I'm a newer sub, maybe 3 weeks old. LOL, I love your channel, love your vibe. Thank you. This is awesome. A lot of people assume that I love pot. I do not. It does not agree with me. CBD, on the other hand, is fantastic, but weed and I do not get along. It feels like this horrible, critical anvil sitting on my head. I wish that weed worked for me, but it doesn't. But I'm not in my mid-20s. Thank you. I'm actually about to turn 32. So I love you for saying that I'm in my mid-20s. That is fantastic. But yeah, I definitely am the light makeup Birkenstock wearing... maybe in another life I was a pothead, I don't know, but yeah, I would say that that's all fairly accurate. I used to be really uptight, and I found that it really is a holistic thing you have to like approach your life with. If you dial back your caring about stuff, you have to do it across the board. You can't just care about one thing. Like, I just decided to dial back my caring about everything, and it happened to influence the way that I talk, and the way that I live, and the way that I dress, and the way that I eat, and everything. I think it was a really healthy move for me. I assume that you are the outgoing one in your friend group, the one that can always call and you'll be down to hang out. I think you are very good at managing multiple things at once, and you are a Myers-Briggs personality type of ESTJ. I'm about to blow your mind. I'm an INTJ. I am an introvert, and all my friends are introverts with the exception of one. My good friend Leslie, she's the one who's like, don't you want to go to this event this weekend? And everybody's like, yeah, but like, no. And me and my friends, like all my bridesmaids, have known each other for so many years that when we don't make plans or we don't want to do something, we don't lie about it. We're like, nah. It comes from a place of anxiety, but I'm an introvert. I get very worn out on social interaction. I really just hit a wall. It happens about a couple hours into any social situation, and I am in survival mode. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't enjoy social situations. It just means that it saps me. So when I get home, I am completely done. And especially if I've had something to drink, I will past trip. I will just sit there and like go back over the events of the evening and worry about how I was being perceived and stuff like that. And so that's gotten better over the years, but it's probably gotten better over the years because I don't socialize as much and I don't drink as much. And so it has never really been my nature to want to go out and socialize. I have forced myself into those situations before, but to be honest, I would rather be in my happy place in my environment with my husband and our dogs and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm not a particularly social person. You're very stubborn and don't back down from a challenge. Yeah, for sure. My brain won't let me back down. If it's something I care about, like when I started my YouTube channel and it just didn't do well at all, I would try and quit, and then I was like, oh, I need to scream into the void, and like I just have these urges. You know, when you read that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, he says, you know, the homeless guy on the corner has money problems. Warren Buffett has money problems. Warren Buffett just has better money problems. Life is not about avoiding problems, it's about picking the problems that you want. And in that sense, yeah, I am really stubborn because I'm really uncompromising about the problems that I want in my life, basically. That you're lean AF and have abs, but only do yoga and sip wine or similar. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, do I have abs? Not really. I haven't exercised in a while, but normally, yeah, it's pretty easy for me to maintain my weight. Also, I have like 800 things that I can't eat, and so that really helps. My body doesn't tolerate alcohol very well. I'm allergic to sugar. These things help keep me lean, but at the same time, I always say this, but I really don't feel like I ever hit puberty properly. Like, my body never filled out in a way that knows how to store fat, and I don't metabolize fat very well, and so, yeah, I have to admit that's really accurate. You don't have body image issues, and I assume that oh, okay, so this is the same person. She says, I assume that you're never going to venture away from clean beauty now that you've tried it. Yeah, pretty much. And that I don't have body image issues. Wow! Who doesn't have body image issues? When I was 22, I didn't have body image issues, but now I do. I think that being, especially in the social media space, it's really hard not to. And I have taken an active role in eliminating the kind of influence that makes me feel bad about myself. I have a terrible habit of comparing myself to 24-year-olds, and it's not healthy. And so I definitely do have body image issues, and they have really been bad in the past, wrecked me in the past. When Mike and I first started dating, I was grappling with an eating disorder. I mean, I'll never forget, I would let myself have a treat or something like that. And Mike was just kind of oblivious, I was eating some coconut milk ice cream or something, and I was in my brain stressing out so much about it, but I just wanted to give myself a treat. And Mike was sitting across the table from me, and he goes, "Isn't coconut milk just mainly fat? It's just super fatty, isn't it?" And I just broke down crying because I was so scared that I was just gonna wake up fat one day. We all have our irrational fears, and that was mine. And I have really had to do a ton of work on it because it's a perfectionism thing. We talk about this. It's a perfectionism thing. And I think that if I really let my brain win, I would never eat. And that's not okay either. You've always had great skin and tiny pores. You must be new here. Hello, welcome. I've had terrible skin. I will put a picture on the screen. It was really, really bad. My skin has gotten a lot better because of chemical peels and because of using the right skincare and because I figured out what my body wants to eat, which helps a lot. Just living a healthier lifestyle. I have always had tiny pores though. My friend was always really mad at me. She's just even if you have acne, I don't understand. I can't see your pores. And I was just never really thought about that before. For all the abuse that my skin has been through, for all of the picking and all of the acne and all of just the terror that I have put this thing through, my poor face, I love her because she has always just kept it tight in the pore game. She's just yep, I'm gonna do you a solid, so thank you, genetics. I assume you'd be fun to go dancing with. You know how to get loose on the dance floor, but without getting sloppy drunk, haha. Okay, so in the past I have gotten plenty sloppy drunk while dancing, but do I love dancing? So much! I love to dance. I dance all the time. I don't even need music to dance. I do not need alcohol to dance. I just love to dance, and self-awareness, I do not look cool when I dance. I am not trained or anything like that. I just have, rhythm. And so, if you guys have watched the first episode of Umbrella Academy, and Ellen Page is dancing, I was that's how I dance. She dances these are the ways that I feel to this music, but there's nothing cool happening. It doesn't look awesome. And so I do love to dance. I love a good beat. I've always loved dancing. And to your other point that I don't need to get drunk to do it, you guys, there have been so many times I've lost count in college and beyond where people are you were so wasted. You fell over on the dance floor last night. I was I was sober. I close my eyes when I get really into dancing and then I lose my balance and I fall. So you are correct on all counts. I assume you wear flannel a lot, usually over a t-shirt. I don't own any flannel. I wish I did, but I don't. I assume you get asked a lot to either repeat or slow down as you are speaking, because you talk super fast, especially the more excited you get. Most people can keep up. My uncle is the only one who's just I'm trying to explain, what I do for a living, and he's I need you to slow down. I have no idea what you're talking about. You talk too fast. So when I'm in the South, when I'm back at home, I think everybody kind of tells me that I talk too fast, but most people can keep up. I think you probably were on the debate team in high school and your strong opinions were environmental and political. I'm not a joiner. The only time I was ever in something in high school was because a friend made me. I would never join anything on my own volition. I don't even like group exercise classes. You are not an only child and probably have at least 3 other siblings. I have one older sister and we did not get along for most of our lives and we've only now come around to being friends. But I value having a sister so much. I'm very grateful for her. You spend a lot of time outdoors, especially in nature, and probably love camping. I would love to think of myself that way, but I am not like that. I like to go appreciate nature in spurts. I like to go immerse myself mainly in really, really sunny days or a lot of water, but I am not super outdoorsy. I would love to be, but I'm not really. You love animals, but you lean more toward a big dog lover mostly. Actually, I'm a cat person. I got my dog when it was like 2012, and it was me and Mike's dog, and it has become completely Mike's dog. I love Ollie so much, but Mike was gone this whole past week, and me and that dog got so stinking sick of each other because I just am not that exciting of a dog owner. I'm not like, let's go run 8 miles, whereas Mike's like, let's go run 8 miles. My spirit animal is my cat Purr Monster. He just wants to cuddle with me all the time. He wants to stay hydrated. He likes catnip. And he just likes to sleep most of the time. Like, that I can relate to. I assume that you would fit in perfectly in my hometown of Ojai, California. I actually just went to Ojai, very briefly. I went with a Thrive trip. I can totally see us hitting the farmer's market Sunday morning with a coffee and the dogs and then going for a kombucha afterwards. Sounds chill. You are non-judgmental. You were that girl in high school that was friends with everyone even if you weren't popular. I was kind of terrible in high school. I mean, that's like, God, how old am I? You know, that was like 15 years ago. I don't think of myself as my high school self. And so, no, I didn't have a lot of friends in high school because I was just a really unhappy kid. I was like not a nice person. I don't think you are as crazy as you seem on your channel. You like to have fun but enjoy a night in and a good nap more. Oh, do I seem like I like to party? Is that what you mean? Then you're correct. If anybody's perceived me as like a party animal on this channel, let me dispel that for you right now. No, I do. I love a good night in. In fact, all of my nights are nights in. You are an artist painter who does not find enough time to do so. So I actually did my art degree because it sounded like the most challenging thing to me. I have never really felt like a very good artist. I'm very good at rendering things. I'm very good at drawing. I'm very good at making things look like what they're supposed to look like, very exacting. But I am not very creative in that sense, and I don't get a lot of fulfillment from it. In fact, I feel a lot of pressure from it. This is far more of a helpful, satisfying art form for me, so no, I don't feel the need to really paint. And I did a painting for a friend of mine who was about to lose their dog to cancer, and I do these, you know, pet portraits, which is just about the biggest, like, kitsch trope I've ever heard in my life. But I get satisfaction out of that because it's for somebody and it has a meaning to me, but I don't have an urge to make art. I don't have an urge to put something out there that's just purely creative. I don't really feel like there's a hole in my life because I'm not painting. I assume you're a diva. I'm actually pretty chill. I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm like the most agreeable person in the world because, like a previous assumption pointed out, I am very stubborn and I have standards for myself and for what I'm gonna do, but I never make other people go along with it. If I don't want to do something, I just don't do it. I don't say like, we're not doing that, everybody follow me, I can't believe that you guys don't agree with me or whatever. I just dip out. I bet you are not afraid to speak your mind. Yep. I assume we'd be BFF IRL. Callie. Obviously. Okay, let's move over to Instagram. Okay, it took a few years, but you found your identity after some hard work. You've had a lot of friends, but were not in the popular crowd in high school. I don't think I've really found my identity yet. I don't know. I like to think I haven't peaked yet, that's for sure. I think that we're getting there. We're getting towards me finding my identity, but I think that identity, and I'm gonna get existential here, but identity is one of those things that keeps you from being enlightened because you're kind of clinging to an imaginary version of yourself, and I never want to become a parody, like a version of myself that I'm trying to impersonate. I'm kind of different every day. Even my handwriting's different every day. And it's just something that I've had to learn to cope with because it's actually a really unstable way to live. Just having different instincts and different proclivities and different things that I'm drawn to aesthetically or mentally every single day when I wake up, it's troubling, it's weird. And so no, I'm not really sure that I ever found my identity or found my calling or found my passion. I have just many. My moon is in Gemini. I have many things in my brain. I'm gonna say, you don't stay friends with people for the sake of it. If someone becomes toxic to you, you have no problem ending a friendship with them. Someone gets me. Yeah. I do not stay friends with people who have betrayed me. I have never stayed friends with an ex-boyfriend with the exception of my very first boyfriend, like back when I was like 15 years old. And that even took a lot of time. I have left a lot of best friends in my wake, and it is because they have abused the relationship or we've fallen out over something. I have a really strong personality. I'm drawn to people with really strong personalities. And so when drama happens and when people of that nature fall out, if there is not like 150% maturity between the two people, which honestly is too much to expect most of the time, absolutely. I mean, I had a best friend who then slept with my ex like 4 months after we broke up, and I had absolutely no problem telling her, I'm sorry, I cannot be your friend anymore. And she was just like, well, I think we can like work. And I was like, I'm done. It's not a bratty thing. It's not a superiority thing. It is an energy thing. I have so much that I'm doing and so much that I'm working on, so much that I'm passionate about, and so many things that I want to achieve. I don't have room in my life to entertain bad friendships. I value the friendships that I have so much that I tell people exactly how I feel. If I feel wronged by them now at age almost 32, I'm mature enough to say, I have a problem. I have my feelings hurt, or this situation was uncomfortable for me. Can we talk about it? And I have maintained and built really strong friendships as a result of that. And so, I mean, that just comes with time and age, being mature enough to actually do that kind of uncomfortable confrontation to get on the other side of it instead of just avoiding the situation. But I would not say that the best friends that I've left in my wake have been avoidance situations. It is most of the time something where it was like, look, you did something really, really bad, and I do not have the space in my life to figure it out with you. Like, you're forgiven, but I'm done. You're a total goofball in the best way. Yeah, I'm the worst. Absolutely. Me and my husband both are. We're terrible. That you don't have children, I wasn't expecting to hear the F word. Hashtag I have a 3-year-old. This might not be the hill to die on today, but my Instagram story, anybody's Instagram stories in general, are a space where we are trying to get instant access to people. It's supposed to be very unvarnished. The feedback that I get on my channel is that you guys appreciate that I'm real and that I'm accessible and that I'm not just this influencer who's taking all of these like over-edited photos, everything being planned out, every post is a branded story or something like that, and that you guys appreciate that about my social media presence. And honestly, it's non-negotiable to me. I have to be my true, authentic self on here in order to feel like I'm putting out content that I'm proud of. I am not going to be phony baloney. That is what kept me from being a creator for so long, was that I would make content that felt insincere, and when I edited it, I hated it and I wouldn't put it up. So I've arrived at a place where I feel like I'm kind of like, my vibe is attracting my tribe. This is a family that understands that perfection is not a thing. And especially, like, I edit my curse words out of my YouTube videos because I do understand that there are mommies out there that, you know, are watching with their kids. But especially on an Instagram story, if you want me to be real, but you also want me to censor myself, you can't have it both ways. That's all. That's all. So, I mean, I've definitely gotten some feedback recently on my Instagram stories where people are just surprised that I'm not who they expect me to be. And there is a word for that, guys. It's called life. You're not gonna like everything you see on the internet. You're not going to agree with everything that you watch on the internet, and not everything is going to have a trigger warning. That's how my Instagram stories are. Consider that your warning. Most of you don't care. But I get a little frustrated because I do make myself so accessible, and what you see is what you get. Everybody who has known me through my channel and then met me in person is like, you're exactly the same. There is no facade. There is no personality that you're putting on your channel, and I intend to maintain that, and I'm really sorry about introducing your 3-year-old to the F word. You are highly motivated. Girl, yes. And I was lazy a lot in my life, and it was because I didn't have a passion. And I think that the bigged challenge for me has always been not feeling confident enough to follow my own feelings, because I had to learn this over time, I have a different path. My path looks very different from anything anybody I know has done, and so I am always trying to seek to emulate. I want a guide to show me the way, because that will be a lot easier than having to crash through it on my own. But the lesson that keeps getting shoved back in my face is that that person doesn't exist and you're gonna have to figure it out on your own. That's what's made me highly motivated, is the best results that I see in my life come from me following my instincts and sometimes doing things that are very foolish and showing the universe that I have confidence in my own ideas, and then they play out. Yeah. The only tattoo that I really want, you guys, is like, I just want something to do with the tarot card, the Fool, because that is me. I'm all about be the fool. Like, go out there and do it, because honestly, the alternative is being everyone else, and I just can't bear that. And thank you guys so much for your assumptions. This was so much fun. I love this. This is so fun. I love finding out. I know it's totally egotistical, but like wanting to find out what people think of you. Ugh. It's like peeking into a crystal ball or something. It's crazy. So appreciate you guys kind of playing along and having fun with me. I hope this was fun for you guys to watch. If it was, go ahead and give this a thumbs up. If you have any more questions for me, guys, hit me down below if you like didn't see either of those posts, and I will either answer them in a future video or answer them in the comments or what have you. I am always happy to help you guys better understand what you're getting into with my channel. Thank you so much. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, guys, hit the button down below and subscribe if you are new here. I would love that. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Happy freaking Friday. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.